Eleanor Mueller covers Congress for Semafor. Daniella Diaz does the same for NOTUS. Remember, NOTUS stands for News of the U.S.
I love that you do that every time. It makes me so happy.
So I open this show, the two of you, by saying that of the politicians that I've covered, and there have been one or two, few dislike being quoted back to themselves more than Donald Trump, the president of the United States. So I remember him saying, or posting or something not too long ago, don't meet with the Democrats. There's no point in doing that, or words to that effect. And yet we get word late this afternoon, he's in fact going to sit down with Hakeem Jeffries, House Minority Leader, and Charles Schumer, Senate Democratic Leader, sometime this week to talk about a shutdown scenario.
That's exactly right. It comes after a letter that was released over the weekend from Schumer and Jeffries, basically calling for a meeting with Trump, saying we have to talk about the government funding deadline. We don't want to shut down, but it's imperative that we try to figure this out ahead of time. And of course, in the end, even though Speaker Mike Johnson and Senate Majority Leader John Thune are the leaders in the Senate, it's really Trump that calls all the shots. So this is going to be an incredibly important meeting, and possibly the first one ever between Trump, Jeffries, and Schumer. Now, do we have a date yet? No. Do we have a time yet? No. We know that
just this week.
Just this week is all we've been told, but even that much is quite a bit right now.
And Eleanor, for a reversal like this, that might suggest that there is some calculations that the White House has done on the back of an envelope, like they've got to look like they're at least making an effort.
Absolutely. They're in a tough spot right now. House Republicans have said that the only thing that they're open to is this simple extension of current funding levels, adding on money for member security, White House security, judicial branch security. Democrats have said pretty straight up since the beginning that that is not something that they're open to. They want fixes to health care, both to these Obamacare credits that are set to expire and
maybe to Medicaid if they can push it that far.
Exactly. And so not a lot of time left.
This is what brings us back to the images that both Elon Musk and the White House portrayed, because there is a conversation, and I think it's a legitimate one, that this shattering national tragedy, which is what Charlie Kirk's assassination was, may in fact be a moment of renewed Republican unity, which is important in a shutdown set of political calculus. If the Republicans are really aligned, and they're aligned with the Trump White House, and they feel a sort of renewed spirit in that sense, that could create a different dynamic than would have existed 2 weeks ago. Would you agree with that? I
would agree with that. What we saw at the funeral was really a unified front from the Republican Party. I mean, there were just so many different members there speaking to who Charlie Kirk was as a person. Also, really important to note, Charlie Kirk was actually one of the people trying to mediate the relationship between Elon Musk and President Trump after that relationship deteriorated. That is why you saw them both tweet for Charlie and those clip photos that are on the screen right now of them together, because he was hoping he liked Elon Musk, he liked Donald Trump, and he was the one trying to really repair those relations. It does really seem that going into this week, Republicans are on the same page. We know that that can change really quickly, depending on whatever the House Freedom Caucus wants, whatever Johnson is hearing from his conference. But this is really going to be between Democrats and Trump when it comes to government spending.
Eleanor, speaking of things that can change quickly, it was indefinitely when ABC pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air. Indefinitely is less than a week.
It sure is. And we don't have a lot of information.
No, we don't.
The statement that ABC put out basically just said he'll be back. They've agreed on what he's going to say. We don't know yet what that is. And I think this is a great example of how there are some areas on post-Charlie Kirk's death where Republicans don't 100% agree. We saw some Republicans like Cynthia Lummis say, well, exactly. Ted Cruz say that I think that the FCC chair, by intimidating, Jimmy Kimmel's bosses, or appearing to intimidating, may have been acting like a mafia boss. And so other Republicans have told us in the last week that they very much support what the FCC chair did. And so there's some real daylight there.
And Danielle, as it came down from both the senators that you name-checked, Eleanor, it wasn't so much that it was a terrible idea, that just it could be used by Democrats if they get back into power, so we don't want to be on the other side of that.
I mean, that's what a lot of the argument is from Republicans if they disagree with something Trump does. And then Democrats use that argument too. This could backfire. We've seen this with redistricting. We've seen this with the rescissions fight or government funding fights. They are consistently like, if we're going to do this, I mean, we might be able to get this should we lose the majority. So they're not wrong with that argument.
Right.
Very quickly, Eleanor, outside of the Capitol, both the governor's races in Virginia and New Jersey are going to be barometers of where things, and we're not having that. We're not going to have a resolution until November, but they're both on everyone's mind.
Absolutely. I think a lot of the restructuring we're seeing of the Democratic Party, the Republican Party, is going to be playing out at the state level. Washington politics, in a lot of ways, feels like they're pretty stuck. And so I think the parties are watching carefully, not just those gubernatorial races, but also the House races in very specific districts in states like Michigan, to get a sense of, what voters want to see as they try and helm the Democratic Party back toward retaking control of Washington.
Eleanor Mueller, Daniella Diaz. Remember that candy does not eat itself. Reach in there. Happy Monday, everyone. I'm glad to be back.